Okay, live is now. So Max. Okay. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. We joined. I think we almost started on time. We are just late with 6 minutes. Technology today. Technology today helped us. Um, so a lot of you have joined. I can see. Welcome. Thank you very much. Please like the live. Follow me also, and follow me for short videos. And yeah, thank you very much. And some of you gave me some diamond. I don't know what that means. You gave me some gifts, but I appreciate what you do. I appreciate what you do. So yesterday when we were on our live, we were talking about politics. And then somebody suggested we come and talk about the elections or election environment, the environment of elections in Namibia. Is it conducive compared with other countries? That is what we are going to be talking about today. I'm not sure whether the person that suggested this topic is still is on, or they are yet to come. So, but those who are here, it's a pleasure to have you here. I'm very honored. Maybe before we start talking about the elections, that you guys, since I have a TikTok page with almost 30,000 followers, and a lot of people that look up to me as a role model and as a good example to them, I took that serious to the point that I make sure that I behave very well everywhere, so that I may not ruin the trust that people have in me. Because to have somebody trust you, it is not something easy. And to have somebody respect you, it's not something that you have to take for granted. So that's why I make sure that everything I say is something that is building somebody. Um, is this Capitia 100? This says, thank you, Mr. France, for being on TikTok. Thank you very much. Somebody's asking whether I am on the radio right now as I speak. No, I'm not on radio. I'm just on TikTok. On radio, I am on radio at 10 in the morning, 10 to 11:30. So you can tune in to listen. At 10 to 11:30, I'm on radio. Yeah. So, but what I was saying is that I appreciate the fact that people respect me and people take me as an example, as a role model, and I don't take that for granted. And that's why you will never hear anything bad about me, because I make sure that whatever I do, I consider my followers, those who are following me, because they believe that I speak things that build them, and they believe that there's something in me that they can learn, they can learn from. So that's why I behave very well. I keep myself well behaved. It's for the sake of those people that respect me. So I thank you for that. Now, the elections in Namibia, this is a good topic. And I just want to give it to you as it is so that I hear what you say. What happened in Zimbabwe in 2020, was it 2023, was very bad. Where oppositions, people sometimes are beaten, and they are, opposition people are beaten up, people are intimidated, internet is shut down, a lot of funny things happen, during elections in many countries. In Tanzania is a recent example where protesters, people were protesting because they were not happy with the elections. And then in Cameroon, somebody who is 92, wanting to be on power. In Namibia, we already have now 5 presidents. In 35 years, we already have the 5th president. We had Dr. Sam Nujoma, the late, may his soul rest in peace, our founding father. He stepped down, and then he gave to Uncle Pohamba. Then Uncle Pohamba gave to Uncle Gengob. Uncle Gengob unfortunately left us before his term, could end. And then Uncle Mbumba came in as a transition, just like a bridge between the presidency of Gengob and that of Netumbo Ndaitwa. And Uncle Mbumba made it clear that he's just going to be there to finish the term of the late Uncle Gengob. And that's what he did. Smooth transition of power. Smooth transfer of power. Smooth transition from one president to the other, no drama. That's Namibia for you. And everyone is talking about Namibia. Everyone is talking about Namibia. Botswana is talking about Namibia. America is talking about Namibia. Everyone is talking about Namibia. When it comes to, the transition, the transition of power from one person to the other, Namibia has done the best so far in 35 years. So our election environment is very good. Even last year there were campaigns, you remember, you remember when the minister Nekundi went to Emono, and he was saying, on the 27th of November, we are going to bury Venani and Itula. And then Itula goes to Walvis Bay with a coffin. They go with a coffin in Walvis Bay, and they say they are making a memorial service for SWAPO. That is called political polemic. It is called political polemic. So, political polemic is common. So they do that, but it does not lead to a fight, between SWAPO and IPC. There will be a fight here and there, like what happened in Linyanti, where SWAPO and IPC, SWAPO and supporters of SWAPO and supporters of an independent candidate punched each other there. So that is in Linyanti. It happened. That's a village. They are not yet. So you have to forgive them. Yeah. But those are just very few cases, very scarce cases. And there are no opposition, leaders of opposition that are arrested by the Namibian government. Everyone is allowed to campaign freely. So everyone is allowed to go on radio and campaign. So it is a very nice, it's a very good environment. Very, very good environment. I personally would treasure this, because I lived in 1989. I was very young, so I didn't understand what was going on. We could hear DTA and SWAPO mostly. They were only those were just the two major parties. Yes, there were other parties like DCN, MAG, MAG, UDF, SWANU, RP was there, and what was the other party? There was SWAPO D. There was SWAPO D also, and I'm not sure whether SWAPO D participated in elections in 1989. So in 1994, I was a bit older, so at least I understood what was going on. I remember, when SWAPO people came to our village, and they were chanting there. And the people were chanting, Sem Nioma, what, Sem Nioma, Sem Nioma. It was powerful. So, and after that, you see, the people got relief, and they say, the food was sent directly from Nioma. Those political polemic. So, and we could listen to the results on radio. DTA, mostly, and SWAPO, they were the main contestants, the main two major parties. So the environment was very good. Then was 1999. In 1999 there was a shift. In 1999 there was a shift because what happened was the president, the constitution was amended to allow the president to go for the third term. And some people in SWAPO were not happy. They wanted a change. So, and that's why people of the likes of Dr. Ben Ulenga, formed a different party that was called Congress of the Democrats. So Congress of the Democrats was formed in 1999 to contest elections. And then, of course, in 1999, elections, they were contesting, and there was DTA too, there was MAG. I think MAG, that's where it ended. MAG died during that time. So the Congress of the Democrats did not make it, but they became, I think they became the main opposition party. I think they became the main opposition party. They got more votes than DTA that time. So, and then in 2004, there was in 2002 to a Congress to elect, and then it was Uncle Nahas, and then the late Uncle Dipo Mtenya, and then Uncle Pohamba. They were the ones that were contesting for the seat of the president of SWAPO. Then Uncle Pohamba won. Then when Uncle Pohamba won, he now he now took over in 2004 to become, the president, the second president. So, and in 2007 was then the formation of the Rally of Democracy and Progress. So, is it Rally for Democracy and Progress? Something like that. You will have to correct me there. Now, when in 2007, RDP was formed, and in 2009, they participated in election, in the presidential elections. That was the second term of, the president Ngifike Punye Pohamba. And I remember after the elections in 2010, around 2010, because, it was about March, almost to get into the swearing in of the, the president of his second term. So I believe RDP took over to become the opposition, the leader of opposition by that time. And then what happened was, all the parties like Swanu, Nudo, and others that got 1 seat each decided they are going to boycott going to parliament because they believed that elections were rigged. They were not free and fair. The problem with opposition parties is that they believe that elections were rigged. But then there is no clear cut to say who was supposed to win then. Because each one of them claims to have won. That's what baffles me when it comes to opposition, opposition parties. So they don't rally about, they don't unite and say, we know who won. For example, they could have said RDP won. No, even Nudo said they won. Each one of them is claiming to have won. Apparently, elections were rigged. Who was supposed to win then? That does not become clear. Fine. Maybe 2 days or 3 days later, after releasing that, declaration that they are standing in one, in one accord, and they are going to boycott election, they are going to boycott going to parliament, some parties started to think, look, I worked hard to get a seat in parliament, and to say I'm not going to parliament, no. No. Some parties started deviating. They started going to parliament one by one. DTA that time went to parliament, Nudo, everyone started to go to parliament, Swanu, everyone. So, in 2014, again elections, took place. In 2014, there was more drama, I think, but it was very much exciting for Gengob to have come to power, because Gengob came with a powerful message. We said inclusivity. He said something. Discrimination or something spares conflict, but inclusivity spares, those, he came with those words. It was a very powerful. He was very dynamic. It was just a different experience altogether to have somebody for the first time from the minority take over the seat of presidency and so forth. So, and many rallied, and Gengob won with 87%. That is not even what Nuyoma got in all his first, second, and third term. Nuyoma didn't get that. Not even Pohamba got that. But Gengob came to hit the record very high of 87%, and the 13% was shared among all other politicians. And of course, we saw PDM becoming the official opposition. That was DTA still before it was changed to PDM in 2017, I think, or 2018. So, but then COD and RDP started to develop what I call political leukemia. RDP started going down, COD started going down, and now RDP and COD, of course, Swanu, Nudo, are in a political ICU. They are politically in an intensive care unit. They are about to die. And if they survive up to 2030, if they survive now, I don't think by 2029 those parties will be there. So, and of course APP was formed during the 2014 also. So, and APP is also having a political cancer. it is also on a political oxygen. It's a political breathing machine. She's APP is now fighting for its life. SWANU APP, in fact, let me just talk about the political party that came out of SWAPO, because SWANU has been sick for many years. They really never made it to go anywhere. And for your information, I think NUTO comes from SWANU, and RP comes from DTA. So RP, SWANU, NUTO, APP, and then COD and RDP, all these are patients. They are in a hospital under very critical condition. They are under a political critical condition. They are in a political ICU. Then, in 2019, came the phenomenon of an independent candidate who wanted to be an independent candidate to challenge GENGOB, but yet being part of SWAPO. And before that, we go back to 2017. In 2017, something dramatic happened. In 2017, something dramatic happened, and it almost shifted the balance of power as far as SWAPO is concerned. That was really, I don't know whether it was a brain cancer that SWAPO started to develop. It was going to kill SWAPO. So two groups emerged out of SWAPO. You had Team SWAPO and then Team Harambee. Team SWAPO, of course, led by the people of the likes of Jerry Akanjo, Naha Sangula, Pendukeni Vulaitana, and so forth. And then, of course, Sophia Shaningwa remaining at the Team Harambee and the rest of the people, like Netumbo Nandi Ndaitwa, them all, because they believed that we should only have one center of power. So then Team SWAPO, it was, they were competing, and I remember that the Secretary General was Uncle Nangola Mbumba by that time. And I remember when Uncle Nahas made a statement that Uncle Nangola Mbumba is citing GENGOB. Nah said to Nangola Mbumba at that time that, look, you are supposed to be neutral. But then Nangola Mbumba said, look, I've told you already that I'm always with GENGOB. That I've made already clear. So, and it was really massive. I mean, chaos was really was looming in SWAPO. And every one of us, people like myself were analytical. I had a feeling that that was going to be the end of SWAPO. Kapitia is asking me to tell him while they had to divide the party into two. Well, there were two factions. The other faction supported GENGOB. The other faction supported Naha Sangula or Jerry Akanjo. I don't know which one was which one among them was vying for the presidency. So then Team SWAPO failed. Team SWAPO failed to win, did not win. They failed. They lost. And after Team SWAPO lost, Pendukeni Vulaitana stood up and said, Team SWAPO right now is disbanded. Now, politically, Jerry Akanjo and Pendukeni Tana were ministers. And they thought that, okay, it was campaign, now campaigns are over. Now we start, our lives, we continue as normal. No. They got the dismissal. They got dismissed by Gengop then. They were surprised to be dismissed. No, it was Pendukeni. It was Nangolo Mbumba, who was a secretary that time. General SWAPO. Yes. Now, after that, the logic that Gengop had was, the logic that was with Gengop is that you cannot have ministers that said a lot of things about you as a president publicly. You cannot have them as ministers because they are not loyal. That was the logic behind Gengop that led him to fire, to dismiss that is what led to fire them. Because as a president, you cannot have somebody who is not loyal to you as a minister. That is not the intelligence of governance. So you will just have to lay them down. That's a logic. Wherever you go, you will find that logic, that you cannot have somebody that is not loyal to you, part of your government. So, after that, we came now into independent, candidacy of Itula, Philemon Mbango Itula. It was new. And you see, surprisingly, SWAPO was caught off guard because they did not know, they did not see it coming, of somebody trying to challenge the president within SWAPO itself. Because the constitution of SWAPO by then, there was no clause that prevented anyone from becoming an independent candidate. So, now, SWAPO, after being caught off guard, they argued that no, that's not part of the constitution in SWAPO. And then Itula would challenge them to say, okay, where is it written? I remember, was it Toby Upindi, or was it I can't remember the minister that was trying to explain this issue on radio. So, after that, SWAPO amended the constitution immediately. And after amending the constitution, there is now a clause in SWAPO that prevents you from being an independent candidate. So after amending the constitution, Itula is barred from SWAPO. And then Itula stands as an independent candidate. Now the agreement was that, okay, fine, you vote for Itula for presidency, and then you vote for any other opposition party for National Assembly elections. And that's what saw PDM them have more votes, like 21 seats in parliament. It's not because PDM worked hard. No. It was because of the independent candidacy and because of the fracturing of SWAPO. So most of those votes came from SWAPO members who did not want to vote for GENGOP. SWAPO members who did not want to vote for SWAPO, and they voted for opposition. So, and again, SWAPO survives the storm. SWAPO survives the brain cancer. That's miraculous healing. Then, after that, was okay. If it is not Toby, if it is not Toby Upindi, it was Nekundi then that was on radio. Yeah. So after that, and in fact, while we are there, independent candidate, was also assisted by young people like, Simon Amnime, Pau Pau, Job Mpanda, Dimbulkweni Nuyoma. They are the ones that really worked hard to assist him. Because they thought apparently he doesn't have many people, so they wanted to boost him a little bit. Well, the relationship between Itula and Job Mpanda did not last long. We'll go to that in a moment. So now, fine, election takes place. SWAPO almost loses a majority, but it still survives, and GENGOP falls from 87% in 2014 to 66%, if I'm not mistaken. So, but still survives. And then elections are challenged in court, and then the elections, Itula still loses the court challenge. Itula loses, then he concedes, we move on. Then in April 2020, IPC is born. So in April 2020, IPC is born. That is the Independent Patriot for Change. Is formed. Now, what happened before between Job Mpanda and Itula, nobody knows. Then we started to hear Job saying, "Look, we found you on a horse, and we gave you a Mercedes Benz." They claim that they are the ones that assisted Itula during his campaigns as an independent candidate. They claim that if it was not for them, Itula would not have gotten the people. Which I would partly debate that. I would partly debate that because, you see, what helped Itula during 2019 was the scandal in Walvis Bay. So, so what happened? What helped Itula was the fishermen situation in in Walvis Bay. That is what helped Itula, especially in Walvis Bay, because he took advantage of those flaws and capitalized on them. And then was the anatomy of the bride. You remember that? The fish rod. Fish rod helped Itula very much to prove to people that SWAPO is corrupt and that Itula was going to bring some change. So I'm not sure whether AR or Job and Panda's claim will be correct. I think those two major events in 2019 helped Itula. But then something happened. Gengob since he's a diplomat, a very seasoned diplomat for that matter. He knows how to deal, he knows what string to pull. So if there's anything about Gengob, is that Gengob knew what strings to pull and when to pull the strings. He was very quiet, like as if everybody will say, no, Gengob is gone. He will not win. But when you are not a politician, when you are just coming into politics and you are not experienced, and you are competing with an experienced politician, let alone an experienced diplomat, your chances for you to win are very slim. And this is what you guys did not know. So this is what you guys did not consider. And in fact, this is what Itula also didn't think about. So Itula calculated and he thought that he got the strings. But little did he know that there are deeper strings that his hand cannot reach. And Gengob was pulling those strings one by one. What Gengob did first was to fire the two ministers involved in the fish rod. And what they did was to facilitate a smooth process to have them arrested. So, and when they were arrested, after the elections, Itula lost the elections. And when he lost the elections, he lost everything because he was an independent candidate. So all the votes that he got didn't take him anywhere. So it was wise enough for him to have created a new party by that time, by 2019. Maybe that would have worked. So the fish rod people arrested, and then fast forward to last year. Last year was a new dawn altogether. And Itula did not have a card at all. You know why? Because he was competing with a new female, the first female president, the first female candidate. So that was, Netumbo had a strong card. Number one, the fact that she's a woman and the first female president in Namibia. Number two, the fact that Netumbo has no history of any corrupt activity. She's one of the very loyal people and royal at the same time in SWAPO. So, and because Gengop was out of the picture, many people sort of went back, to SWAPO. So, Itula didn't have a card to count on. He didn't have anything to rely on. And then he makes a very terrible mistake by saying he's not going to go to parliament. So, and then at least election takes place, IPC becomes the official opposition party, and of course you see AR performing very well, performing even better than, PDM and LPM. AR, and then you see parties like, Christian Democratic Voice dying instantly, and COD also not having any seat. SWANU only retain one seat. So you saw, Lucato having worked very hard, coming to parliament with one seat under NDP, that's the National Democratic Party. So that's the history of the elections that I've just given you. And I'm giving you that history from my head because I've been following every election. I've been following every elections. So the COD, UPM, RDP, I'm not sure whether APP has a seat there, but RDP, UPM, COD, those ones are in a political ICU. They are suffering from a rare condition that I call, a political leukemia. And that political leukemia is what killed MAG and DCN and SWAPO-D, respectively. So, that is the history of elections in short. That's the history of our elections in short. So, any question? Any comment? The question on why SWAPO does not have a vice president, I think that is for SWAPO to answer. That's internal for SWAPO. They will answer themselves. And sometimes I wonder, you guys are not members of SWAPO, but you're asking why SWAPO does not have a vice president. If you're a member of IPC, why are you concerned about SWAPO? Okay, thank you, Kapitia. We're saying APP has one seat. You said I did not tell you about the war. No, I did. Maybe you just joined the live late. I told you about the war yesterday. So maybe you just joined the live. Okay, if you are a member of Swapper Party, maybe that question is internal. It will be answered in one of your meetings. I'm not a member of any political party. I'm a neutral person. I do neutral analysis. I can only answer questions based on the information that is available in the public domain. So any information that is internal, I will not be able to answer any question, because remember, I'm a very respectable person. I'm a very respectful person. I don't destroy people. So I make sure that every information I give you is accurate and correct information. Well researched information. So anything that is okay. This one is saying, and you vote for which party if you are not a member of any political party? No, I have a voter's card. And voting is enshrined in the Constitution of the Republic of Namibia and is a right of every citizen. So, I will vote for whoever. You see, I go through the manifestos of every political party, and whoever convinces me, that is the person that I will vote for that time. So I don't have a membership card of any political formation. But that does not mean I don't vote. I vote. I vote as a neutral person. So, and I will choose whoever I want, but that does not mean I'm a member of that political party. I have just chosen that party at that given moment in time. You see? Just like going to church. It does not mean that because I come to your church, I'm a member of your church. I just come to your church. As simple as that. So that's how I am, because I want to be free to hammer every political party in terms of my analysis without feeling any guilty. You say, Mr. France, you are smart to answer questions. Thank you very much for that compliment. Okay. Okay. Jix the Prince is saying, when are you telling us about the war? I'll tell you before the live ends. I'm just going to give you a short some news. Okay, so for some of you that are just joining now, hey, you have missed a lot. I wish there was a way to download this video. I wish there was a way, but I will try to download this video, then I will upload it on my page so that you go through it again. I will see if I'm able to do that. I will see if I'm able to do that. To download this video, and I'll put it on both my page. I'll put it on YouTube, and I'll put it on on the TikTok. But you need to follow me, hit the like, and also you need to go to YouTube and subscribe to my YouTube page. And if you like music, there are music for you there that I've made. You will download it and put it in your phone and enjoy the music. most of my music, I'm not yet at the level of selling them. Maybe I'll make an album later where I combine all my music, and then you guys will buy just to support here and there, because it's not easy to get content and present it to you. So hey, my brother from Russia, welcome, thank you very much. Long time. Yes, this is a brother of mine, friend of mine, from Russia. I hope you are doing very well in Russia, and I wish you all the best there in Russia. Russia is a country that most of us don't understand. Most of you don't even know that Russia fought. Most of you don't know that Russia helped America to gain independence from Britain and France. You don't know that, most of you. So every country in this world that every country that ever fought for independence, every country that ever fought to be independent, they wouldn't have been independent if Russia did not step in to help them. From Latin America to Africa, it is Russia. So my brother has been saying, I love you, my brother. It would be even awesome if you can come here. I hope to come to Namibia. Well, good. If you come to Namibia, it's going to be very fine. But where do I start coming to Russia? Where do I start coming to Russia? It's a country, in fact, that I want to live in because of the culture. Because of their culture and their, I like the Russian culture. I like their honesty and their frankness. It's a country I want to live in, if not living in China. So that is what happened. Now, I've given you the history of elections in Namibia, and you have heard that. Now, let me tell you something, what happened in Ukraine. Today was the most dramatic day in Ukraine. Zelensky's the closest ally, I don't even know how to pronounce his name, so I will not mention his name. He's a businessman. He fled to Israel. I think he got a tip-off that the police were heading to his house, because there is a case of corruption opened against him. This one is saying, why is it fighting Ukraine if it is a good country? Well, Russia is not the one fighting Ukraine. Ukraine is the one fighting Russia. Simple as that. So, because Ukraine started, fighting in Donbass in 2014, and they also started, fighting against the Russian-speaking, people, and that's when Russia stepped in to, defend the Russian-speaking people. So, If I have to explain how the war in Ukraine started, it will take us 3 hours, because we have to start from 1949 for you to understand everything. So my friend from Russia is even saying, guys, it's not about country. Politicians from all over the world are against regular people. That's the truth. We settled that one. Yeah. Politicians are after their own thing. But when it comes to Russia-Ukraine war, without choosing side, we have to speak the truth as it is. And every sensible person knows what if we have to get into the history of how the war started, every sensible historian and political analyst, because I'm a political analyst, so I do analyze international geopolitics. So the Zelensky's closest ally, business person, has fled because there were rumors of his arrest, rumors about his arrest, and that's a blow on, Ukraine. That's a corruption case that is being opened against, the Ukrainian government and all the associates. But when it comes to the issue of Kupiansk and Mirnograd and the city of Pokrovsk, the Ukrainian soldiers are surrounded by Russian troops, and 95% of the city of Pokrovsk 95% of the city of Pokrovsk is in the hands of the Russian troops right now, and so is Kupiansk and Mirnograd, and some settlements around there. So, and these days Russia started attacking Ukraine very seriously and hitting power grids, and there are blackouts in almost every city in Ukraine because the power grid is overwhelmed, and a lot of power plants have been destroyed, and there are concerns that people might not have heating because of due to the winter that is approaching. It might be difficult for an ordinary Ukrainian. So that's in short about the war. I did not have enough time today to check.
Wait. Let me solve this puzzle, otherwise your life will end.
Okay. TikTok is trying to play with me here with puzzles. I don't know what those puzzles are, but the live was going to end. All right. So if there are no questions, and well, they put the comment back. If there are no questions or comments, thank you very much, my friend from Russia. See you too. Thank you very much. It's a blessing to have you joined the live. It was nice to to see you on my live. Thank you very much. He's a friend of mine from Russia. So, guys, thank you very much. Please, can you tell me what should we talk about tomorrow? Can you put it on the comments? You gave me a good topic today, and I talked about it in depth. So give me something. What do you think we can talk about again tomorrow? Jix is saying you want to hear about the war. You like war, you? Huh? Jix is saying you want to hear about the war. Anybody with a different topic? War, we will always talk about it because war is a news. We cannot have a topic on war. Let's have a topic, and then we can bring the war news in. So there seems okay. Tomorrow we are going to talk about the G20 that is in South Africa. We are going to come to talk about the G20 countries tomorrow and the G20 meeting in South Africa. Evangelist Lenvata, thank you, but you are coming very late when we are already, ending. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining the live. Have a good night and be productive. See you again tomorrow. We can end.